All right, guys, I know that you have seen a lot of content from us here at Hardware Canucks, and it's all based on the PC hardware. But this from Cooler Master, this I need to talk about because a lot of people are going to be thinking, who the hell buys this kind of thing? And this, guys, is the ORB-X. And I'm going to tell you exactly who buys this type of $15,000 gaming system. It's not just a gaming chair. It is going to be basically esports cafes. It's going to be airport lounges that want to add a little bit of entertainment to their experience, but it's also probably a couple of those well-heeled buyers. Supposedly they have over 500 people who are interested in buying this right now, plus a bunch of other companies and whatnot. So let me explain a little bit about what the ORB-X actually is, but I also wanted to thank all of the companies, including Cooler Master. Thank you very much, guys. Everybody's looking at me doing this right now, for sponsoring this trip to CES. Without them, none of this coverage would have been possible, and I wouldn't be talking to you about this pod. So anyways, let's talk about the first couple of things. So in order to get into it, you basically move aside the tray table. Now this tray table also has Qi charging, and it is magnetic. So I have actually the remote right here, and it sticks to it 100%. You don't have to worry about anything moving off of that, including your keyboard, as long as you have a high enough quality keyboard that has a metallic chassis to it. So anyways, let's get into this thing. And I need to also tell everybody that this is a very early sample, so there are a couple of little sketch things going around. So what we have here is your complete system. So as I lower this thing with this handy dandy remote that controls a bunch of other things, I'm going to get to that too. I want to talk about what's going on here right in front of me and above me. So first of all, what we have is a mount right here for either three 27-inch monitors or one single massive 34-inch monitor. The other thing is that there is a 2.1 system in here for the audio. What that does is it gives you that immersion, and because of this sort of like bubble-like affair going on here, it does its best to recreate a 5.1 surround sound system through a virtual sound stage. On the left, you have a bunch of controls for like the audio, a couple of other chair functions. On the right-hand side, you've got I/O for your headphones, for a couple of USB peripherals and whatnot. The other thing that this does, that this remote does, is it gives you recline, incline for your footrest, for your back. And I also need to talk about the chair itself, because this thing, it is real leather and it is comfy as heck. I have to say that most gaming chairs out there, I do not like them for my back. I've got back problems. This thing is super comfortable. So anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of like pop the hatch here and get out to explain to you a couple of other things about the chair. Hopefully I don't bash my head. So other than the RGB lighting, on the back is where you would install a mini PC. Not necessarily a huge PC, because there are some limitations with the cooling of this. But anyways, what we have right here is your little opening for your mini PC. You can pop it right in here. If you have a larger PC, you would actually be able to cable route from the bottom to a larger PC that would be on the outside. So the last thing I wanted to mention here is basically the fact that not many people that are necessarily going to be watching this video are going to be buying this, but this actually sets the stage for things to come when it comes to immersion of every single gaming system. Now, speaking of immersion, I wanted to cut to Dimitri, who's checking out another gaming chair with some really interesting haptic feedback.
Okay, so Michael, the ORB-X is absolutely next level, something that's probably unattainable for most people. But this, the new Motion One from Cooler Master, at first I thought like it's going to be just, you know, when you hear about a haptic chair, it's just like, all right, whatever, could be a gimmick. But the Motion One isn't just about the vibration. It has a 1-inch actuator, so it has a pitch maneuver so that it doesn't only vibrate. It has full-on pitch maneuver on the chair. So if you put an accelerator on a really fast car, you actually feel like you're inside the driver's seat, which feels absolutely incredible. And it's actually well designed and integrated with D-Box, the company who is behind the actuator and the haptic motors. So they do millisecond frame by frame encoding, so from a high level, which means they support over 80 games that are available on D-Box Connect. And with this chair, you get Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so they do throw in some value add in there. Now, the only thing is that this chair is fairly expensive, you know, probably not as attainable as other haptic gaming chairs on the market at $22.99, so a little pricey on that front. You do get one annual free subscription with D-Box Connect, so up to 2,500 pieces of content available in terms of movies, in terms of other things that are directly wired into this thing, which is awesome because frame by frame encoding in terms of that haptic experience is what you want, but also they have this adaptive haptics, which means that if you don't have hardware level encoding for a particular piece of content, you as a user can input what you want to do for certain games, which I would say is, you know, you probably, if you're into coding and if you want to experiment, that's pretty cool, but otherwise 80 games that are available on D-Box Connect. You download the profile, it syncs up. As soon as you open the XE, it's already loaded nice and quick. A quick overview of this chair. So of course we have handles. It is a slightly bulkier design because of this massive base underneath that houses the actuator for all of our pitch locations. It does have a pretty thick cable, but it seems to be nicely braided and protected. So if you do roll over this thing, the chair isn't gonna just destroy itself. It does have power and USB for the computer, so it can communicate. We have some RGB elements, of course. This is a Cooler Master thing. After all, we do have a magnetic little pillow cover that you can attach basically anywhere on this height. So for taller people like me, this is much better. Whereas before it was attached to the bottom, and I'm like, what was going on over there? But just to demonstrate what's gonna happen here with this chair. So right now, as you can kind of see, I'm going through little vibrations. If I go back, there is nice pitch correction that is very much appropriate to where we are going with the vehicle. Another very important thing about Forza 5, for example, is that everything is also tuned per vehicle in terms of transmission. So if we're in the Lamborghini in this desert, there's a lot of vibrations. I can feel exactly when the gear is changing. I can feel the texture of the ground, which I was not expecting. I thought this was going to be just a little vibrating kind of a gimmicky chair after all, but when I do brake, we have pitch correction to mimic how the vehicle front is lowering, but if I book it from the front, oh yeah, it's awesome. If I'm in a slightly higher vehicle with more suspension it gives me a totally different experience on the actual chair, which I was not expecting. And so I feel like from the 80 games that they do support right now, it is very much complete. A very interesting example with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which the game they will include with the Motion 1 chair, is that when you're in low on health, the chair has a heartbeat. So you know exactly, it just gives you a bit more intensity, which isn't annoying. I feel like throughout the game, you know, once you re-heal, it's fine. It gives you a really good indicator when the health is low. But also, more importantly, when you use the arrow, check this out. So right now, I'm gonna pull the arrow and look what happens. So it mimics the pulling of the arrow that gives you a very interesting haptic motion. It is a little strange with the mouse because it does distract you, so you just go back. So maybe with the controller, it's slightly more user-friendly, but still probably something that you can get used to with the keyboard and mouse if you're a proper PC player. The Motion 1 isn't just a gimmick, it's actually pretty awesome and clever. I'm Dmitry, thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you in the next video.